Hello, everyone. Good evening. So many people here tonight to hear about Dylan's story. I really appreciate you guys all coming out. And of course, you know that I am joined tonight by Dylan's mom, Candice. Hi, Candice. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And so, just before we even get started, I want to remind everyone in the chat to please stay respectful. She is willing to answer whatever questions that you guys may have, but please keep them in the realm of, kindness. This family is missing their son. And so, Candice, why don't you tell us a little bit about Dylan?
So Dylan has been out in Lucin farming. This would be his third summer. The kid, since the time he was walking, that's all he ever wanted to do is farm. And his dad, Justin, is a farmer. So Dylan, ground's getting tough to buy for a young kid coming up. So Dylan found some ground in Lucin, Utah, and him and his grandfather partnered on it. So for the last 2.5 years, Dylan has been out there doing groundwork, tearing out sagebrush in the middle of this miserable hot desert and just loving it. He now has one pivot running. There is good water out there, amazingly. He's got a big deep well. He's got a pivot running. He lives out there in the summer. He's planted it. He has done everything on his own. And it was his dream. His whole dream was coming through. Yeah, true. His first crop is finally coming up. That's all he's done is work towards that. And he just was so happy it was coming up. He was just thrilled. I mean, he'd send pictures to everybody. My grain's coming up. So Dylan is not a kid who walked away from this farm. Dylan does not play video games. He doesn't go out boating in the weekends. He'd snow machine a little bit in the winter with his friend JD, when there was no farming. But the summer is farm. That's all that kid does.
So it sounds like he is extremely focused and level-headed. Honestly, very, very mature for 19, it sounds like.
Yes. And everybody in our community, here in Twin Falls, Idaho community, and where his dad Justin's at in Eastern Idaho, he's worked for all the local farmers. He helps them. He does custom work. You can't find a person that will say anything besides, that's the hardest working teenager I've ever met. He just is focused on it. So he would not walk away from his farm. We know that.
Right. So tell me a little bit about how you guys found out that Dylan was missing, the events that you guys might know leading up to this, and what happened the weekend of that he disappeared.
So what we know now, the facts we have that we've uncovered. So Dylan's last physical sighting was in Montello, Nevada, which is about 25 miles from his farm. Let's see, it'd be the southwest of his farm. And he goes in there and eats a lot because it's the only place around and they have hot food. And then he got a phone. He called his grandmother on Saturday morning and said, it's raining. I got to go put my seed truck away. He was in a panic. I'll call you back. Because if the seed gets wet and sprouts, he can't plant it. And he was trying to finish planting.
He was at his farm on Saturday morning.
No, we do not know that. We got a phone call saying.
Okay, but it was in fact him on the phone though. Like it wasn't somebody.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yep. That was our last contact. We're waiting on Verizon to see exactly where that ping came from. We haven't got where that phone call. We've got the general area of the tower, but that's the whole general area. So we're trying to get a more exact location so we can see if he was actually at his farm or if he stayed in Montello or where was he?
Right, so, that makes sense because he could have spent the night somewhere, woke up to rain, and was like, I have to get back to my farm to put the grain truck away.
Correct. Okay. So there's some, and I'll leave names out. There's some gentlemen that have helped him on his farm that live out there. So Karen, his grandmother, did not hear back from him Saturday. And I'll just tell you, so Dylan, just to clarify, because we have had questions, it was nothing to go 2 or 3 days without hearing from Dylan. He's down there farming. He's doing his thing. The kid was famous at breaking phones. His phone is always busted. So but one of us was always in contact, whether it was his father, Justin, or it was myself or one of the grandparents. Somebody was always in contact with him every day. So it took a day kind of to figure out that nobody had been in contact with him. So his grandmother had the people that are out there go check on the camper, and they said his pickup's here, it's locked, no Dylan. So she still hadn't alerted us, just because, he's out there, he's been out there a while. He could have, went into town with somebody, just, it wasn't a huge alarming at that moment. Then Monday, which would have been Memorial Day, May 30th, Karen started calling around. And so JD, who is Dylan's best friend, called me and said, "Hey, have you talked to Dylan?" And I said, "No." And then the triangle started going. So then I got a hold of Justin, his father. "Have you talked to Dylan?" No. And so then the panic set in. Nobody talked to Dylan since Saturday morning. And our biggest fear was always a farm accident. Did he get in a PTO? Did he break a leg? Did he fall in his grain? That's the things that go through your head with farms.
Right.
So Justin was headed back from Las Vegas with our daughter, Brooklyn, and we headed out from Twin Falls, and we all met there. So I had called the police on that. We talked to the people that we knew in the area, and nobody had seen Dylan. So we called the police and got him out there, and they got search and rescue out there. Search and rescue, it was somewhere between 4 and 5 that they showed up, and it was within the first half hour or hour and a half to second hour of the search that they found his boots.
Okay. And where did they find his boots?
So his boots were behind a dirt pile that was just south of the shed that his truck was parked in, like you have up on the picture. And they were just casually tossed out there. Like somebody just walked out there and tossed his boots. And the problem with this, with the rain and stuff in this desert, is if it's not a spot that absorbs the water or that holds the water, when you step in it, it's just sand. It doesn't really leave prints. It's got to be one of the places it pulls down to leave a trace. So we have no clue how these boots got there.
Okay. And he's not the type of person that just like walks around barefoot or anything like that. That's not in his character.
No, and it's pokey out there. There's all the desert thorns, and I mean, you're not just going to be walking out there in socks or barefooted. Even tennis shoes hurt. They get through them. You need boots out there.
Now, whenever you guys found the boots, were they ruined in any way? Like, were they shredded or anything to indicate that there would have been a reason that he took his boots off?
No. I'm betting they weren't over a month and a half old. And we knew he'd bought new boots not long before. And Dylan hammers boots fast, but no, they were just the typical, had the desert dirt on them, a little bit of hydraulic oil, just work boots, no holes, nothing. And Dylan was the type of kid that would wear his boots until you had to have new boots. Like, he didn't just go. Dylan wasn't a material person. He was material, or Dylan isn't. Let me rephrase that. He's a person that he will wear a pair of pants until, you basically have to throw them away. He likes to spend all his money on tractors, his equipment, not material clothes, stuff like that. That's nothing to him. I mean, he'll wear a shirt until, you can see half of his chest hanging out of it. He doesn't care. He's out there working.
Right.
And he has a very distinct step. He has a very distinct way that his boots are worn on the side, the way he steps, the way he wears them and doesn't put his pants under. I mean, they are Dylan's boots.
So someone was asking in the chat, was his seed truck near that spot? And so the distance, you guys can kind of see in this picture here, this blue shed here is where his grain truck was. They currently have it pulled out because they were looking at the grain and checking to see, could he have been in there? How much moisture the grain could have gotten, things of that nature. But it was semi near the shed. But why he would have thrown his boots over that dirt mound that you guys see and then walked back to his shed, it just doesn't make sense.
No, and the dirt mound is the opposite direction from his camper, from where he lives in the summer when he's out there farming.
Okay, yeah, because he lives, it's about 5 miles, correct?
Yeah, yep.
The other direction. Okay, and then someone else asked, did anyone check the pond that he was making?
So the pond was fully functional. We did completely drain the pond.
Okay.
We pumped all the water out of the pond, and we did initially, like the first day, there was some marks where you could tell he'd been down there, and they were slip marks. It wasn't slip marks like it looked like he had fallen in, but there was slip marks, and so we immediately drained the pond all the way.
Okay. And someone said, were there any footprints or tracks found around the boots at all?
No, nothing. And the ones you could kind of see in the picture where it's a little bit disturbed, that is search and rescue.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. So you see where they come up and over, you can see where it's been disturbed. That's search and rescue.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so tell me a little bit about Dylan's truck and his camper. Was it locked? Were you guys able to get it right in? Was anything stolen from it? Anything obviously missing, things like that.
Yeah. So the first evening that we were there, we went out to his pickup. So we were looking for his guns immediately. Where's Dylan's guns? And his pickup was locked, which is just not him at all. He doesn't lock his pickup anywhere, especially out there. He doesn't lock it in town. Well, we couldn't see, you couldn't tell. So Justin busted the back window out of his pickup. We did not notice the four-wheel drive at this point because we were just frantic. We're just searching. There's no guns in his pickup. So as the search continues and we all start, getting our heads a little bit clearer, we start looking at Dylan's pickup, and you can clearly see how dirty the inside of it is, dusty and everything. So just imagine what the outside would look like. The pickup has been pressure washed. So there's no mud on the tires. There's not even dirt on the tires. There's no tracks. And for it being pouring rain, that pickup, that doesn't make sense. And if you go, you'll see in the video when you go to the front tire that when it goes to it, that they clearly they forgot to wash the wheel well on the front tire. So, the little bit of dirt that's on it, it's just from the sand blowing, but the pickup, it rained all weekend. It's like
if he had been driving this, you would
Yes.
definitely expect a lot more mud.
Yeah.
And even just splattered up the sides or anything like that.
And then for it to be in 4 low, when Dylan, he's been cussing, and that's the pressure washer mark you can see right there. When you get really close to something and you pressure wash it, it leaves marks if you don't get it. You get one spot really good and not the other. So he knew his 4-wheel drive didn't work. It's been an issue. He would not put it in 4 low. He absolutely would not put it in 4 low.
Now, the damage that's on the front there, was that already there?
Yeah,
that's not new. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's not new. It's a farm pickup.
Did he own a pressure washer? I mean, obviously he probably did for his farm equipment.
Yes, and it was out there on his farm by his pump, nowhere near the pickup. And that's about the only way you could, get that mud. As the lady who has helped me with the timeline puts it, it's like gorilla poop. Mm-hmm. It sticks to everything. It doesn't just wear off in a rainstorm. You've got to physically get it off yourself.
Right. So someone is asking, was he getting along with the farm hands? How many guys did he have working there? And, did he get along with them? Was there anybody who could have hated him unintentionally or anything like that?
No, he just had some gentlemen that were older, not elderly, but older, that live out there that would help him out here and there when he needed it. He didn't need a pile of help because he only had one pivot going, but they'd help him mechanic and stuff. But there wasn't anything there. They were buddies and did their thing, and they've been around as we've been searching for him.
Okay, and then were all of his guns accounted for? Was everything like that there?
We're still missing a pistol.
Okay. And he wasn't sorry to even ask this, but he wasn't suicidal or anything like that, was he?
No. The
Okay.
kid was, his first grain of crop of grain was coming up. The kid was on top of the world. Everybody told him, like he said, everybody told him when he went out there, they'll never do it. I mean, we all had friends. Dylan's crazy. You're not going to grow anything out there. And that was just his goal,
Prove them all wrong.
prove them all wrong. And I can
Mm-hmm.
answer this question that's on there on the rain. And yeah, we're aware of the rain and that a lot of it gets washed away, but there's not a trace. Um, the way that desert sits up is if you're on higher ground and the water runs down, the higher ground sets up probably, I would bet you it's hard enough within 5 or 6 hours. It's not going to leave footprints. But Dylan's pickup, where his pickup's sitting right now that you can see, it's sitting up on a hill. So if he were to pull up in there after the rain, because even our pickups when we arrived there Monday left tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, on the upper part, like I get that because the way that ground sets up, but it's where the water's held and there's no way you could walk from your pickup to the camper, how his thing's set up without hitting one of those low spots. Like there is just no trace, not even a trace of the pickup being pulled in. There's no tracks behind it, nothing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so someone is asking about the drifter guy who asked for a ride. A lot of us had seen the initial reports of someone flagged him down and then asked him to use the phone and things like that.
Yep.
Later, we had seen that you guys had kind of announced that you believe that he's not involved. Are you able to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so everybody kind of ran with the chase deal, and all we had a chase up as was a person of interest. Everybody in their mind twisted that into suspect. So Dylan did give Chase a ride out of the desert on Wednesday, May 25th. That is confirmed. There's witnesses. He took him to town. He dropped him off. So we were being pointed in different directions by people in the area saying, you need to talk to him. You need to get a hold of this guy and talk to him. So we immediately, that's where we go. Like, we need to talk to this guy. That's what we're being told. Well, when we couldn't find him is when we put him up as a person of interest. Chase has since, Box Elder County, he tried calling into them, and the Box Elder County detective confirmed this with us. He tried calling into them all day. I want to say it was Thursday of last week, and they would not respond to him or call him back. When he couldn't get a hold of them, finally, he actually reached out to me personally and called me. And so he's like, I wasn't even there. I was in Utah. And we have since cleared that. The detectives have cleared it too. So it just kind of, when it said person of interest, and we just were desperately trying to find him to figure out if it had anything to do with it, people automatically threw it into suspect, not person of interest.
Right. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the bad side of the
Yeah.
internet sleuths.
So, yep.
Any type of straw that we can grasp at, we are going to grab it and run, basically.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily always a good thing, but sometimes it is.
Right.
Sometimes, like Gabby Petito case, internet sleuths were basically able to help locate her, and
Right.
so
Yep.
it goes both ways.
Yep. I understand. He has been. We've accounted for whereabouts, and so we've moved on from that.
So I'm going to flip through some of the search pictures that were posted in the Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's anything that kind of stood out, like it looks like you guys are really going everywhere, basically.
Oh yeah, we had amazing search party.
Have you guys had the hounds out yet, or cadaver dogs, anything like that?
So the cadaver dogs have been out. The hounds were called off because of the rain and the contamination from all the people, because the bloodhounds need a solid trail. But the cadaver dogs have been all over where his truck was, his boots were, his camper, in between. They have been everywhere. So we're trying to get more cadaver dogs out where Elko County is being so uncooperative, because we have a couple places there that we want to run dogs, but we are getting no help from Elko County. They are not helping us whatsoever with the search. So all these pictures that you're seeing, this is all on the Utah side. So the Nevada border is probably about 14 miles from where my son's farm was. So you take that into consideration, and you've got Utah telling us they cannot go onto the Nevada side, and Nevada telling us that Utah has to invite us in, but they have yet to call it a criminal case. So all we're asking for is search and rescue's help, and they are refusing. They won't even talk to me. I can't even, nobody will even talk to me. They tell people who call in, we got a team, they're working on it. They say they need to profile Dylan. They need to talk to people who need Dylan and profile him. Well, why don't you call his mom?
Yeah.
So it's really frustrating because the Nevada side's the exact same, but we can't get anybody out there. So we're taking it back into our own hands and trying to locate some cadaver dogs in the area. I did talk to one lady tonight, and hopefully we'll find some more, because they're not going to do it.
Now, did they search his truck at all or lift fingerprints, anything like that?
So the officers, no, I should not say the officers. The officers were great. The detectives have done nothing to treat this as a crime. It should have been treated, or however they word it, it should have been treated as one from the very get-go. And I see, as far as I'll answer that, really, the drop of blood on the boots, I was told last Wednesday by a detective, we found blood on the boots, and we found a drop of blood on the boots, and they're at the lab and it's getting tested. Well, we found out that was a lie on Saturday when they slipped up and said the boots were still in the back of the detective's SUV, because he kept them in case the cadaver dogs needed them. Now,
Oh my God. What about
well,
chain of custody? If this goes to court, like,
right.
that's awful.
And
Sorry.
anybody who knows anything about cadaver dogs, they do not go off the scent of blood. That's bloodhounds. Cadaver dogs are strictly going off as searching for human remains.
And there
So,
was a body I seen that was found
in
during the
Wendover.
search.
Yeah. Well, but it was on the other side. It was over by Wendover. There was no relation. That gentleman
Okay.
has been missing since January.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah.
thank God his family finally has closure at least.
Yeah. So these boots have finally made it to the lab Monday. What was that? The 6th, June 6th. They finally made it to the lab. A full week after they were found in a young man missing and being lied to and said there's blood on him, they were sent to the lab finally. They finally on Monday called me and wanted our youngest boy Colton to go in and swab for DNA for comparison, and for his friend JD to go in and swab for stuff that he had touched that they just wanted where he'd been in the camper. So a full week. So they're doing all of this testing and DNA, so they say, but they still won't treat it as foul play.
That's insane. And it literally comes down to his age, basically.
Right. Well, and I've tried to explain, and even Dylan didn't even really know how to play video games. Like, he might try with a friend here and there when he shows up in a situation, but it's not him. It's his farm is his everything.
Now, did Dylan have a girlfriend or, a special lady that he could have been meeting up with? Anything like that would have moved his truck seat up? I know that was one of the points that you had made earlier.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. He's not interested in dating right now. It's hard to fathom for most people how dedicated this 19-year-old was to his son or his farm. He'd come to town so that he could go to the tractor stores, go get his parts, come see us, go to Eastern Idaho where, his father Justin lives, go get parts, see the family, and then right back to the farm. He did not have any interest besides his farm.
Is there anything that we can do, such as email or call law enforcement to assist with search dogs or anything like that? The chat is wanting to know.
The biggest thing we can do right now is follow the Find Dylan Rounds page and push on Elko. We have got to push on Elko County because they're the only ones we can, we've done the Utah side. Utah, Box Elder, there's been a lot of things that have been dropped and not handled right by the detectives, but their search and rescue was amazing. And then they brought out Weber County also, and they brought out their chopper, and they brought out their cadaver dogs, and those guys, when Diesel Brothers were up there, and then we had York up there, one of the other pilots, and they're just amazed. There's no ground out there that doesn't have we didn't miss anything. But we need to do that to the Nevada side because it's only 14 miles away.
And so,
and like I said, just so everybody's clear, Nevada is telling us that Box Elder County is the one leading the investigation. So they have to be in charge of it. But Box Elder County is not releasing it as an official crime. There's no crime. There's no proof of a crime. So that means Elko does not need to be invited in, especially their search and rescue. We're not asking for a tactical team. We're asking for the dogs and the search and rescue to come help us. Because we're all going to go back out there. We have another huge search party coming out this weekend, and it's like, assist us with dogs, help us with anything.
Have you guys reached out to EquiSearch by any chance?
You know what? I had a lady send that to me on Facebook today, and I was going to look into it. I just haven't had a chance yet.
I strongly, strongly recommend it. They are absolutely amazing with what they do, whether you get Tim Miller or Dave Rader, depending on which division would come out there. They are phenomenal. So strongly, strongly recommend that you go out there or get a hold of them. They have drones, they have the dogs, they have a little bit of everything, as well as trained professionals that can come out and assist. They won't take over necessarily, but they will assist.
Well, and that's what we need we're not professionals at this. We're trying to organize this and do the best we can, but we're not search and rescue for a living. We're winging it. We're trying to stay organized and keep everybody focused. And, we've mapped pins. My mom has a huge map. We made people check in and out. We gave them numbers, and then as they were texting in their pin drops, my mom, and we had another volunteer come out, and then my friend Megan. So all of this was coordinated and done with absolutely no help from Box Elder County. None. We did this all on our own. All the maps we have, the pinning, the keeping track of everybody, because, our biggest thing is there's snakes out there, there's scorpions, there's mine shafts, there's all kinds of crazy stuff a person can get themselves in a pickle. So, we gave everybody their number, and by the end of the night, we accounted for every team coming back in.
Someone else is asking about the phone pings. We know that his phone did ping near his farm.
Yeah.
Correct?
So his farm's in the radius of the phone ping. So the phone ping's a 15.4 square mile radius off of the tower that it pinged off of. So he was 15.4 square miles. I guess it's a circular mile is how they do it in a certain. So yes, his farm was part of that, which that's why we're like, okay, he's here. But there's also a lot of other area, including part of Nevada, that's part of that. So the phone ping's great. We know his phone. We know it was there somewhere, whether or not it was him but that was at 3:41 in the afternoon was the last time his phone pinged. So like I said,
on which day?
On Saturday. May 28th.
Okay, 3:40 in the afternoon on Saturday the 28th. Okay. And he had been, so the flyer, whenever the new flyer came out, it says that the bar that he was seen at was the 27th, correct?
Correct. Friday the 27th.
Okay. And that was in Montello.
Montello.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. Everybody gets them confused. There's a couple of them out there.
Okay, and no, Leanne Hicks, the inside of the truck was not cleaned.
No.
It was very dusty, everything like that. Burden, if you want to join the Facebook group, anyone who is wanting to know the phone number that we need to call for this police station, Frank has posted the Facebook group. This is his official Facebook group. All of the information that you guys are going to need or want is in there. They also have the phone numbers and everything for these law enforcement agencies posted so that we are able to call, send emails, whatever. It doesn't go directly to the police force, but basically to their bosses, so that we're not bogging down the police station itself with phone calls, but to the people who decide their budgets, basically, and if they're going to send help or not.
Yeah, and I can't find anything on any private search and rescue out of Elko County. It's all sheriff controlled, I believe.
Okay.
Box Elder, the first evening they have a volunteer, division of it too, and those guys were amazing too, and that's who first came out that night, was the volunteer end of it, and then the next day they sent the sheriff's side of the search and rescue. But
so,
I'm not sure how Elko's formed.
Gotcha. And so Cece is asking, what about the trailer? Someone cleaning up that perfect may have gone to wash their hands or flush a weapon.
He didn't
Did the police search the inside of the trailer at all?
No, the police didn't go in the trailer until like Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Wednesday the detectives finally went in the trailer, but the police, they didn't do it. They didn't search anything. They treated it 100% as this kid's out goofing off. That's why they allowed us to knock the back window out of the pickup. That was the first night we knocked the back window out of the pickup to get in it.
Okay. And so In It to Win It says, what about Don and Jim? The only other guys who have connections to the farm. Don and Jim would be the ones to take over the farm. They had problems 3 to 4 weeks ago, and Dylan fired Don.
So Don has been out there keeping the farm running since. And you look at everybody. I mean, they even look at the parents, of course. But Don and Jim, they weren't there when Dylan took his truck in. We really have no reason. They've been out there with them the whole time. And if, as far as taking over the farm, I mean, if you logistically or logically think about that, do they really think we're going to keep his farm running with somebody else if our son is gone? And it's not even a lucrative farm right now. It's just going. Don and Jim aren't capable of doing. I mean, it's a lot of work. So yes, I mean, I understand the question, and I'm not shrugging it off. I just, like, we have looked into it. We've looked at every aspect, and we're not going that direction. I should say, I know the detectives will interview him if they ever decide it's criminal, but at this point they've talked to him. They've been around the whole time. So, I don't have a straight answer. I wish I did, but
yeah.
that's my and the family's feeling on it. If the police would get involved a little more, there might be different feelings, but right now the feelings that we get as a family, that's not a place we're taking it to.
Okay. And I know that a lot of that, I was waiting for that to pop up because I know you had tried not to say their names earlier. But the helicopter video that came out this afternoon did state their names. And so I knew that a lot of people were going to kind of.
And that's fine. And that's good with the interviews. We can clear up a lot of the people say, well, what about this and what about that? And it's okay to ask questions, because then they can get a clear view of where we're at in trying to find him. It helps.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. And so, Riley, no, they have not checked for fingerprints, I don't believe, correct?
They actually let us take the pickup home. It's back at his father's, Justin's, to get a back window put in it, because where they never roped it off, and we had so many people out there. I mean, we've had hundreds and hundreds, and everybody's went out there, because even when we had our big search party on Saturday, well, and there's people there every day, but the great big one, they were all over everything. We didn't even have assistance from Box Elder County. We had an officer out there for a couple hours, and then he left, and he didn't even come to the search party. He stayed at the trailer. And then one of the search and rescue guys from Box Elder County, and he was amazing. He stayed out all day, but he was actually out physically searching. But so the pickup at this point, you would be pulling hundreds of prints. I mean, it's so contaminated. There's not even anywhere to go with it now. I mean, there's just too many.
Right. Um, how old or new is that truck? Does it have GPS that you guys would be able to pull from?
So it's a 15, I believe, but it didn't have the Ford Care or whatever Ford uses was not hooked up.
Okay. Cece is recommending to please get a really good lawyer. A good lawyer can not only pressure law enforcement, but make evidence and witness statements available. They can also call special higher investigation forces in.
Yeah, and that's a good idea. I haven't thought of consulting with an attorney. You wouldn't
Do
think you
you?
would have to, but
Yeah, I know. It's sad. It's really sad the fact that law enforcement isn't pushing the way that you would think. Everybody thinks whenever you have a missing person that all of the resources that you see on TV are made readily available. It's just not the case.
so I'll tell you how bad it's been with the law enforcement. We got a tip that we followed that was false, and it told us that Dylan was being held somewhere in Montello. So we got names, we got everything. They're watching this house. They're not going to let Dylan out. So it took us getting Elko County out there. Justin called the Utah detective and said if they didn't come out and do something on this lead, he was going to take matters into his own hands. I had to actually call 911 into Elko, tell them what was going on, and here we have a mob of an angry family saying this is what's going on. These are the people's names. The names we got, they took the names serious, but not. I mean, they sent out 6 deputies to go search and knock and talk, and they did do that, but it took us threatening to take it into our own hands and calling 911 to say we are going to take this into our own hands to get Elko County out there to follow this lead.
That's devastating.
Yes. So that is the struggle we have been facing. And I know Elko County is not going to want to hear it, and they don't like that I'm saying it, but that is what happened. That is absolutely what happened.
Yeah. This is what David Robinson's been going through with his missing son, Daniel. Exactly. Buckeye, Arizona, almost 1 year now.
Yeah,
And honestly, Naomi Irion, a lot of you guys followed her case as well. Law enforcement basically told her brother that she just went off on her own. She was a teenager. She could do what she wants because she was technically an adult. He had to go to the Walmart on his own and ask them to pull for surveillance footage. And he had to watch his sister being kidnapped on surveillance footage instead of police just doing their jobs. And
and
so it's sad. And she was also in Nevada. So it doesn't really shock me that Nevada's police force is just being essentially worthless for you guys.
yeah, they are in no way offering assistance. And like I said, they just keep going back to this. Utah has to invite us in, but it doesn't even have an official like criminal case number. So you know you don't have to have permission to send search and rescue out. I was told on the phone by a Nevada detective when I gave him some areas to search and begged for help. I was told by him, well, it's BLM land, so we need to get a hold of BLM. And I'm like, no, you don't. We've been searching Bill. You don't have to. But that they would send BLM out, but not them.
Wow.
When does BLM work a missing child? I mean, BLM would be an absolute great asset to help in the search because they know the area. They got the maps. They're familiar with that kind of stuff. So in that way, they would be an absolute help. But if BLM comes across something, they're not law enforcement like that. They're not going to report and work with the other agencies. That's not their job.
Right.
No,
Yes, this case does
yeah,
need national attention, Snickers. I agree. That's what made them finally do something in Naomi's case. The best thing that you guys can do is share this video, share the other creators that are making videos, the Diesel Brothers video. Like, we got to get all this out there so that we can get more people interested in Dylan's story. That's why Candice is here tonight. We want to get everyone in here to see his face, see what's happening in this family's case so that they can get the help and the assistance that they need. So go ahead and answer this question. I know you were getting ready to. Sorry.
yeah. So everybody that has confirmed he was at the bar that night. Nobody has said there was a situation. So that was never brought up by anyone. So I would say no to that.
So now what about the bar and the area surrounding it? Did they have cameras around there?
I
Or
highly doubt it. Montello's like 300 people,
right.
maybe. I mean,
Yeah, we looked at that
but
yesterday. It's like literally like in the middle of nothing and then it's just like bam, little town.
yeah, there's just, I mean, amazingly, I mean, the cell service out there is amazing, which is crazy, but I highly doubt anybody up there. But that's another thing that law enforcement needs to go in and ask. You know, these small town people, they don't want to turn their cameras over to us. It'd be something that law enforcement would have to make happen, and they have no interest in doing it.
Someone said Twin Falls, Idaho, search and rescue is supposed to be assisting in the search this weekend.
So we actually live up in the Twin Falls area, and I know I've had some friends that have told me they're getting involved. So that would be great, because we're going to put a post on Facebook tomorrow with what our plans are. So we'll just, we'll see where we end up at. The area, I should say, will, map a rendezvous part where everybody starts from, because that's the one thing that we really stress, that we don't want to get into a situation. We want everybody to come to the same place to start, because it is nasty terrain out there and it is easy to get yourself in a bad position, and we don't want anybody else to be added to this list of missing in, the Montello area. So, we just want to keep everybody safe that comes and searches too.
Right. Because not only do you guys have to worry about critters out there, but there's also a lot of squatters that live out in this area, correct?
Yes, it is a huge squatter area, and these people, they consider what they squat on theirs. They put up private property signs, and they got guns, and you don't go on their property.
Now, you guys it was 640 acres, is that right?
Yeah, that's what Dylan and his grandfather partnered on, was 640.
Now, did he have any trail cameras or anything like that in his area?
No, and I see the question, and there's really not many trail cams out there. There's no game. You might see an antelope or two here and there, but people aren't going out there hunting. There's nothing out there. Further up in the mountains on the other side, yeah, but I think we've seen 2 antelope the whole time. There's not a lot out there.
Right. Okay. And then somebody earlier had asked about the height of the business partners. Would they have had to pull the seat forward in order to drive his truck?
No, they would have been back. They're both bigger guys.
Okay.
Yep, they're both bigger guys, and Don's very, very husky, like where the steering wheel is. And sorry, Don, if you're listening, no offense, he wouldn't have been able to fit.
Mm-hmm. So, is there a private investigator assisting you?
We've had one. We're focusing on our own right now. The tips are being called into him, and Box Elder, but for the most part, we're kind of at a brick wall. We need something. We need some more searching, and we need some, somebody to tell us more. We know somebody knows something in that area. There's just, somebody knows something, and media gets people talking. The PI, he got us some information about people, and we followed up on that and did the diligence. He did his due diligence. It's just kind of a dead end. We're at a dead end. We gotta get to the Nevada side and really comb that and see what we can find. See if we can find something, and move forward from there.
Right. So BC is asking, did he have a computer or tablet hooked to his phone? He didn't initially, but you guys were able to get one, correct?
Yeah. So no, we got, my cousin went and got another phone and reactivated it under Dylan's number to hack into his Facebook and Snapchat, which he has completed. And it's just like we suspected. There's nothing but pictures of tractors and farm and water and what he was doing out there. Nothing, nothing that says, oh, wait a minute. It was and just what Dylan does. And as far as the tablet and the computer, Dylan didn't use that stuff. He used a phone because he had to. He wasn't an electronic. His favorite thing, it's always, this stupid phone is glitchy. This stupid phone is broke. Well, son, it's the way you use the phone. Like, he wasn't a techie. He wasn't into that stuff. He didn't, most kids out there would have an iPad or something so they could watch TV, or that wasn't Dylan. He worked until he was exhausted and he crashed. He didn't use any of that stuff. Did I lose you?
Totally didn't realize I was muted. I'm sorry. I was talking the whole time. No, I was just going to ask, like, was there anything of value that anybody could have wanted to steal from him, other than farming equipment, obviously, because that stuff was expensive.
But he had a great big giant generator that he ran his power off of on his camper. Tools. I mean, lots of stuff of value besides the tractor. Value, if you're going to sell it, most people wouldn't use it, but it was all there. Everything's accounted for. He had equipment spread through the Wine Cup Gamble Ranch because he was doing custom work for them, and then a ranch in Independence Valley, which is just on the other side of I-80 from Montello. Every tractor, everything is accounted for. Nothing is missing.
Okay. Yep. I'm just wondering, honestly, if there is a possibility that he even could have walked up on someone squatting at his house while he wasn't there.
It still wouldn't explain. Well, no, because he's there daily. He's there every day.
Gotcha.
So, and that wouldn't explain if it was a squatter. How would they know to go dump his boots by his trailer, by his truck?
Right. That's true. The boots throw everything off.
Yes. The boots are the beginning of all of it when it should have been. And they probably could have found fingerprints and stuff, who knows, but they can't now. I mean, it's too contaminated.
Right. Frost Entertainment, thank you for your super chat. And he says, the truck and the boots are huge key factors. I would get second eyes on the search of the trailer. Hiring a private investigator, police waste time. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
especially
not.
These police. They are just, this is just ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah. And even what we've got done with Box Elder, I'll be honest with you, I've had to get downright nasty. And I call and I scream and I threaten going to the media with what they've done. And then they come out for a day. And then they disappear. And then I got to do it again. And all they tell me is we're working behind the scenes on all this stuff. Well, what is this stuff? Because the only thing Box Elder County knows is what we've given them. They haven't been out there and found anything themselves. Absolutely nothing. The boots, none of it. They have not found any of this themselves.
Right. It's all been you guys or people that you guys are with.
Yes. Every piece of every bit of it. And then they'll come and they'll ask questions. And it's been frustrating for Justin and I as parents because we feel like they're dividing us because there's one detective that'll talk to him all the time. And there's one detective that'll talk to me all the time. But they've only talked to us together a couple times when they're at camp. But if there's information or if there's questions, they need to have Justin and I together because we're so frazzled and our brains are not properly functioning. They tell him one thing, he calls and tells me, all you got to do is twist one or two words. And then we're like confused because it's like, well, I thought he said this, but he said that, it's like a dividing force.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally put them all on a group chat and told them no more of this. Like we will communicate.
Yeah, as one.
Everybody. Yes, as one, because it's too confusing if not.
Well, and not only that, but you don't want to cause any additional rifts or stress. Like you don't need that. Yeah. Not right now. Yeah. So guys, the people who are asking about things missing, it seems to be a pretty common question here. The only items that are missing currently from Dylan's farm at all is Dylan, his cell phone, his wallet, and one pistol. Is that correct?
And his keys.
And his keys. His truck keys or his keys in general? Like keys for everything?
His pickup key fob, just his key fob. That's why we had to break the back window out.
Gotcha. And so, like, those items, I mean, would he have carried the pistol with him? Probably anyways.
Well, and he was really good about staying armed out there because there's a lot of squatters and a lot of weird traffic through, amazingly, in the middle of the desert. So I could see him having his pistol on him. I mean, he, it's not like it was a great big giant thing by any means. It was just a little 40, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I could see, and that's just it with the wallet and the keys and the gun. That's the kind of stuff you pack with you.
Right.
You pack that kind of stuff with you.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to keep up here. Let's see. Sounds like someone picked him up and didn't bring him back. Yeah, Grace. I mean, they don't think that he would have left with a friend. It's just not in his character. He wouldn't have went off for the weekend or a holiday or anything like that. Not during planting season because it's so important to them.
Yeah, and I mean, Grace, you got a good point. It's like, did he ghost? Did he get in with the wrong person? I mean, that's the thing, is we don't. That's why we're trying to get it out there, because we know somebody knows. Somebody has seen something. He doesn't just vanish.
Right. The seat moved up. Yeah, it could be an indication that somebody was looking for something inside of the truck. But again, nothing really of value would have been kept put there.
No, I mean, his potato chip wrappers and his cottage cheese container he'd been eating for lunch one day. And that's the thing. That's where it goes back to the thing with Dylan. He doesn't have that kind of stuff. He doesn't. He's not looking for an iPad. He's not, he's got his couple little things, and that's it.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Elizabeth says, our thoughts are with you all, Candice.
Thank you.
They have talked to the local news. They have talked to everyone. There were several news reports that came out in the beginning. It's just now really starting to pick up, though, as far as coverage. I've seen a lot of people starting to jump on the case, and that's great, but we are, what is this, 10 days?
Yeah, we are so far behind. Those, like I said, we keep saying it all goes back to the boots. If those would have been sent to the lab, like, is that really blood? What's going on?
The phone ping, just to repeat the phone ping again, because there's a lot of people newer in the chat asking about that. It did ping at his farm or near his farm within a 15.4-mile radius. And so his farm is within that realm, but they do not have his phone itself. It was, you said 3:42 on the 28th.
Yeah, 3:41, and that's what the one sheriff found out for us. One of the sheriffs that came out the first night, he pinged his phone. He got on and did his phone ping before he even got out to us. And then since then, we've went through it with Boxell to get his text transcripts. We've gave permission. We've done all the stuff for him to do it, and they just haven't done it. And it takes my cousin, being techie enough to go ahead and get another phone to get into it. But they said, it was last Wednesday or Thursday, the detective came out and said they did some other sort of, there's another type of ping that you can do, ETT or something like that, that gets it like almost exact location, and that he should have that the next morning. I have yet to talk to that detective again. Justin, his father's talked to him once or twice, but that was it. The detective came out, and so that was supposed to be our new detective that was assigned. I have yet to talk to that detective again. It has been almost a week.
Okay. And they have not questioned anyone, correct? Like, they have not drug anybody in for questioning. There's been no fingerprinting done, nothing along those lines, because again, that is, a lot of people are asking about Dawn and the employees and things like that. And so really what this is, you guys, and I know you guys all have a lot of questions about that, and I would too. I'm sure, his family to a point has certain thoughts in their head as well. But what this is mostly about is getting them the resources and focusing on finding Dylan. Should one of those people know where he is, we'll find that out hopefully once we find Dylan.
And I just want to clarify, so I don't contradict anything. Elko County sent a detective and met with one of the Box Elder detectives in Montello and questioned the people who own the bar about the night Dylan was there. That is the only questioning that has been conducted. They did go talk to the person who runs the bar. That is it. And that's when we confirmed, yes, he was definitely at the bar, Friday night. But once again, that's a full week later.
Right.
That's a full week since he's been missing, and 6 days since we'd been searching that they finally went, and that was once again another screaming match.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, this is his first crop. He was thrilled. They do not think that he was in any way, shape, or form depressed or anything like that, you guys. They don't think that he took his own life. He had no reason to. And as far as anything that they can tell at this point, something nefarious happened that led to him not being there, his vehicle being locked uncharacteristically. It's not normal for him to do that. The seat was pulled forward. It was in 4-wheel drive whenever he knows for a fact that his 4-wheel drive doesn't work. All of those things are just red flags. And so they need our help to get his story out there and to put pressure on this police department. I'm not going to keep making you re-answer the same questions. And so that's why I was kind of putting that out there. I appreciate absolutely everyone who is here. Guys, this is 217 people that have been consistently watching. It actually got up to 270 at one point. And so I really hope that you guys please share this to every platform that you have. We should have at least 200 shares with everybody in here. Help this mom. Help this family get his story out there as much as we can. Candice, do you guys have a fund or anything like that for the searches? Are you guys staying at his property? Are you off work right now? Things like that?
So we're back and forth, and both his father and I, with my new husband, we all work for ourselves, have our own companies. We're not asking for anything financial right now. We are secure in that way. Everybody's been great on donating. I mean, the choppers have all been donated. These people have just come out to help. We didn't hire them. They just came out to help. So we're not setting up anything in that way or asking. We don't want any financial assistance. We just want everybody to share and get it out there so we can get the help that we need.
Excellent. Yep. That's awesome. Awesome. If that changes, please let the community know for sure. Yes, Jennifer, please message Duty Ron. Let's get some of these big name creators in here. Me with my 3,000 subs is great to get her started with a platform, but please let's propel this. Let's get his face absolutely everywhere. Let's make this Gabby Petito big because this young man needs to be found. How much time has passed between Dylan's last known location and declare missing? So
last known location was Friday the 27th, but last communication was Saturday the 28th. So from Saturday the 28th till Monday the 30th, I called the authorities on the 30th, and I believe that night he was listed missing. It might have been the next day they put it in the database, but that's when it started rolling.
Yes, Nate Eaton is also in Idaho Falls. Nate Eaton would be an amazing one to talk to, for sure. Absolutely. So is there anything else that you want to say to the community?
Just if anybody, keep your eyes out. I mean, there's not a lot of people in that valley, but we all know how people talk and stuff spreads. And, the Missing in America has been an amazing asset. Jazz, you guys have something you want to throw out to her. She weeds through everything. She, keeps all the scammers and everybody off. So that Facebook page is great. It really helps keep the pressure off of some of mine because she weeds through everything. And our numbers, Justin and I, both of our numbers are out there. They're both listed on the posters. If you guys hear something or anybody knows anything, call us. We don't know if we'll ever know what tips get turned into box elder, and it may be something that we know that tips us off to something where they haven't been out there. So both of our phones are always on. We're taking nonstop calls. We just ask that it's definitely something of importance. But if people know stuff, you can text, you can Facebook. we don't mind communicating with people in the search to find them.
And that's if you guys, I'm going to clarify that for a second, because that's if you guys have actual information about the case. They don't want you guys to call and say, oh, you guys should get dogs out there, or, did you look under his truck, or did you lift the back seat? Like, they don't need that type of advice. But if you have an actual tip, if you have seen Dylan, if you have actual information or know someone who might be involved, that's the type of things that she's talking about, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly. We've had so many. I filled through the Facebook comments like, well, it seems fishy that there was no tracks. Why weren't there tracks? I'm aware of that. We are the ones that put that out there, that there were no tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So we've exhausted the situation to the point that's why we went to the media and to get it out there so we can get some help, because we're not detectives and we're not professionals and we can't fingerprint. We can't. It's not what we do. It's their job. So
Right.
we've done as much as their job as we can. We need their help now.
Right. So Grace Green, she did not. So she did say the words, he has a son, but she misspoke whenever she said that. She was trying to say a different sentence, and that's what came out. Stress, nerves, everything else, so
Right.
he doesn't have any children far. Right. Yeah.
No.
So
No.
just to clear that up before it becomes a rumor or something.
Yeah. No children.
No kids. He's very just focused on his farm and, his family, farm and family. It's pretty much it.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll find something from someone.
Sherry says, stay strong, Candice. We are praying for Dylan and your family.
Thank you.
Yes, please share it on your community walls. Absolutely. Let's not make her have to repeat herself 300 times on 76 platforms. I know she will, if that's what people want. But let's share this. Let's get the information out there. Once you have the search information, please let me know, and I will post that as well so that we can get as many people out there to volunteer as we can. I know that there is at least one or two people in my chat who are very close with EquiSearch that may be able to even help that connection go along a little bit more smoothly as well. So please, I strongly recommend reaching out to them because they have some amazing resources. Okay. And all right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and end it there. Candice, I just want to tell you, thank you so much for coming on. And I've been praying for you guys. I will continue to pray for you guys. I know that my community, my small community that I have, they have really been thinking about Dylan since we brought his case up, and will continue to do so. And I wish you guys the best of luck. If you need anything at all from me in the future, please do not hesitate to reach out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Candice. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
So thank you guys all for coming. I really appreciate you all. I love you guys so much. Please, like I said, like the video, hit the share button, comment on it afterwards, even join this Facebook group, follow Missing in America, Jazz, all of them at Missing in America. They are absolutely amazing. I'm constantly sharing their flyers, and that's where I get a lot of my cases from. Please go and follow them and share this out. Let's get his face absolutely everywhere. I know that we can make this Gabby Petito big. Thank you guys. Have a great day.